one time of like giving legitimate reasons of why meth is looked down on and like why it's better than coke and shit, and like telling me like no, it's not bad. Like just really leaning into this, like it's not that bad.
People start getting like,
it's like this motherfucker's really selling me on meth. Like,
who was somebody, I forget who did the who does it? They did the joke. I've recently been trying something for pain relief. It's the ancient Chinese, the thing with the needles, they wait until the crowd says acu, and then they go, oh, heroin. That's right.
It's heroin.
Yeah, it's heroin. Yeah.
I did every now and again. I haven't done it in a while, but every now and again, if I don't have a way to go into another joke smoothly, I'll end a joke and then I'll be like, what are those scooters that you lean forward on and that makes them go? And then somebody will be like, segue. And then I'll just start the next joke. And that's always fun.
Yeah. I didn't realize how much, I had to go through and correct a bunch of the episode's numbers and shit the other night. I had like 338, 423s.
It's like back in I know you didn't watch wrestling when you were a kid, but like when we were kids, WCW had a wrestler named Bill Goldberg, and his whole stick was he just didn't lose, and every week he'd come out, his number of wins would change dramatically. It'd be like he's 3,000 wins, and the next week it'd be like 4,500. It's like, where is it getting these? Like, you televise every event, and it was great. It was so fucking funny.
Yeah, that's. I let you watch. Oh, we already went over it. The pig thing.
Yeah, dude, that's nuts. That's straight up from fucking Talladega Nights.
Yeah. So if you guys may have not have seen, but recently, a man has had a successful heart transplant surgery using a pig heart. Yes, that's right. A pig heart.
Fucking
pig heart. It was
fucking
fresh, right out of the big city. It was Babe. I seen the collar. It was Babe.
That right there. That is
Actually, I think it was Charlotte. Not sure. What was Charlotte? What was that name? Wilbur? No.
Yeah,
it was Wilbur. Yeah, it was Wilbur.
God, that was a sad story.
Yeah.
Fucking that is a what do they call it? Free range chickens and stuff like that. It was a free range pig heart that he got right there. That is.
It was actually a genetically modified one. Like supposedly, like they throw that in there too in the article. But I don't know. It was one of those ones I seen. I was like, that's something fun just to write about. And then when I did all those corny jokes about, he made a full recovery.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. What was it? He has to dress his surgery wounds with ointment. That's going to get somebody, like some lady that loves dumb dad jokes.
Just, he's fucking great.
But then, makes a full recovery and becomes the meanest cop in Maryland. I'm sorry.
He's fantastic at hogging.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
That's actually, you might have just helped me piece in. I'm going to try that tomorrow. I'm at the back door. But I'm going on like number 2 or 3. I've never.
I like that spot.
I'm hardly ever do that spot. They always put me back at the end.
I hate that
At
spot.
least from like 8's my favorite spot when it's at the back door. I like 8. And I just, one of the reasons why is because if I'm on that night and I'm doing my darker humor, yeah, it sucks for when like you have a cleaner comic that, like Andy Hamilton or, because I've already got these guys. I've already taken them. I've done my 5-minute set and I've gone from dark to darker to dark to where it's pitch fucking black. By the end of it, I was doing, so to try to bring them back with, and I'm not saying they're not funny because their jokes are solid, they're funny. I laugh at them. It's just, I've noticed it. It's hard to follow that kind of dark energy or someone that's like Kyle Fields. That's just, It's all crowd work. It's all
That's very
110%
hard to
in your
follow.
face.
Very
Like,
hard.
yeah, but now you've gotten the crowd interacting
They wanna talk.
and and expecting everyone else to do it. And I get it. But there's some comedians that I love doing it to. That I love it when they go right after me because it's like, you got nothing on that. I just murdered
Have at it, buddy.
Yeah, I just murdered it and did every abortion, pedophilia joke I had and I topped it off with some incest. So, and they loved it.
They're eating it up, and you're gonna go up there and talk about
Go do your knock knock jokes.
talk about milk.
Oh, that's fucked. Dude, he actually fucking crushed it
He's
the other.
very funny. I'm not
Dude,
gonna say not.
that his bit, like he had people dying in tears about the it may be the wrong person, the mall cop.
No, yeah, very good.
Dude,
Funny
the
joke.
timing he had on that, like I want to give him props again. I gave him props last time, but I don't think he really took it to heart.
Yeah.
But like, no, that's something I pay attention to. Like timing, to me, even when as a little kid, it was always I learned real quick. I was like, it's all timing. You can get you can get extra laughs by a weird awkward silence, a holding it, just holding back and not rushing your shit, and just timing it perfectly, catching the laughs in between. And he, like almost like you would have thought this motherfucker's been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah.
And like he's got that bit down, and great job on that shit.
My
like,
first.
But yes, a comedian like that doesn't have anything to compare with dark humor.
Yeah.
Dark humor. Like, yeah, it's hard to go up, and it's hard for me to follow them when it's a night. If it's, you got Teal Pierce, Pat Ryan, and Brendan Olsen, and then, these comics are very funny, but they have their own style, and it gets the crowd into that way of thinking, the psychology of that, and they're like, okay, I get it. I get their comedy, and then you come up there and you're like,
y'all ever seen a kid naked?
Like, it's like, you pedophiles only record music in A minor, man. And they're like, whoa, left field, and it's just like crickets for me.
I thought we were talking about Goldberg. No, Brendan Olsen, my first showcase I did at Crawdaddies.
And that milk shit fucks everybody up every time he does
It's still
it.
a funny joke.
Yeah.
He was on my first showcase I did for Crawdaddies. I had Nathan headlining. I had Spencer right before him. I
love
Teal,
Spencer.
and I had a guy who I haven't seen him around in a long time. I can't really remember his name, actually. But he had to drop out for some reason. And so I hadn't seen Brendan Olsen. I barely knew him. I barely knew anybody in the comedy scene. But I knew he lived close, so I messaged him and asked him if he wanted to do it. And, like, he came out and, like, I didn't want to say surprised me because, like, I didn't think any less. Like, he wasn't going to be good. But it was, like, I felt like I'd seen everybody that was really good in St. Louis at that point. And he came out and did phenomenal for 30 minutes. And it was like, oh, okay, cool.
Well, I didn't know he had 30 minutes.
A lot of it was definitely stretching.
Yeah.
But he might have 30 minutes, but a lot of it was stretching, and he did fine.
I get it because we're at like the back door, and like me, I like to do new material. I like to try out new material at the back door, one because of the crowd. It's a real legit crowd to try stuff on, and I get like I don't do that at Funny Bone because I'm not comfortable at those Funny Bones. I do the stuff I know is solid. Like just because I'm trying to, we're all trying to get noticed by the goddamn guy that gets to pick the next feature or host or the host. It's
comedy is literally
which
just
I'll never
soulless.
make that list. Like I'll never like who was it? Quentin was running the mic the other night that I was there, and he's like, "Tip good. That's how you get back on the list." I was like, "Bullshit." I was like,
that
I
works
tip
at Helium. That very much works
bullshit.
at Helium.
I tip everyone. Like I tip if I like at the back door. Ask fucking any of the waitresses. If I get a beer, it's $3.50 or $4. I tip $5 for all of them for just when I'm there, so they know. But I do it at the Funny Bone just for that, like for that reason. I'll get a beer and hand the man a $10 bill just as a tip, or put it on the. They don't notice.
I think Helium. I think a lot of the reason I got that Helium show with TK Kirkland was because, well, one, somebody dropped out because it was last minute. But I think the reason my name came up is because every time, up until that point, I was hitting that Saturday mic every Saturday, and as many times as I could hit the open mic sign up I could. And every time I was there, especially on Saturday, I would just literally hang out at the bar, and I would just chat it up with the servers and shit, and I would take care of them, and they all knew my name. They all would tell me the jokes they liked and shit. And then next thing I know, I'm getting a message from Michael like, "Hey, how could you clean comedy?" And it was like, "Great, grand, best thing I ever done."
I did a clean set not too long ago for an open mic to prove to Jeremy Ginnon I could do it. I hosted it, and I did 10, 12 minutes of clean comedy.
Yeah, I mean, I think people made it out to be harder than it really was for me.
It's not. You just take out
take out the
lot
fucks.
for me, because most of my stuff started off dark. My first joke was an abortion joke, motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah, see, like, my shit's fairly silly.
I had Alex Blodgeck's old lady heated at me my first open mic. My very first one, I had pissed people off. Yeah.
Wasn't I there? Was it back door, or was it at Helium?
Was at the Helium Bucket.
Yeah, okay. Because I was going to say...
No one knew it was my first time. Like, they didn't announce it or anything.
Because I think that was the first time I saw you, and then your girl went that night. Jules went that night, right?
That was the second time.
Okay, so then I saw you second time. And then I started seeing you at back door all the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I should get involved with that guy because he's probably got pot.
No, we first spoke. You crushed it one night. Like, I didn't know. I thought you, because every time I seen it, you had murdered it. So I had thought you'd been doing it for probably 8-9 years. Because you look like you're 45. So
I do, don't I? It's fucking weird. It's shocking. I mean, it's not so much now, but like when me and Angel first got together and people found out she was older than me, they would be like, wait, what? And then they found out how much older she was than me. And like they'd be like, oh, gee, your wife's fucking got it going on. And it's like, or is it just I look this bad? Like, because it could be either one.
Yeah. I know I'll end up getting, once age hits me, it's going to be bad because I'm always outdoors.
Yeah, you're going to turn out like a fucking piece of beef jerky.
Yeah.
With dreads.
Yeah. Doc told me when I was like a teenager that I'll probably have some form of skin cancer on my shoulders and nose that has to be cut off because of how much I was in the sun.
Thanks, Doc.
Surfing. Well, you're laid out on that board, just sun beating on it nonstop.
Water on it doesn't help.
No, it cooks you. And I mean, as a kid, it was bad. I didn't want to put nothing on as a kid. But once I got older, I went and bought some zinc. Would put it on my nose and ears and shit. But still my back. I didn't have nobody to rub it on me.
I was always I've been an anxious person my whole life. So like even as a kid, I was like terrified of skin cancer. And my mom would be like, you're like 10. And they'd be like, I need fucking SPF 30. Like, I don't fucking want any of this shit. And like,
dude, my brother-in-law's kid is like hypochondriac, thinks like has it in their head like that pandemic's gonna kill them. Oh yeah. And they're gonna kill people because
that's terrible.
They're gonna kill their grandma and stuff like that. And like they don't want to just get out. He doesn't want to go to school. Like, and this kid's like pretty bright, and he's I think like 2nd or 3rd grade. Kids love school.
Yeah.
And they don't want to go to school at all. Like he just wants to stay at home with his tablet. And his parents let him do it too. It's like his mom, she's a piece of work. Let me tell you what. She messed around on my brother-in-law back in the day.
So is this your sister?
And then left him for the guy, moved him in the house, kicked Eric out. Still has Eric's mom do all the raise the kids, basically. That's the thing is like, dude, they try to take Eric to vacation with them, their family. I think my brother-in-law's Eric, so yeah. He's gone on like family vacation with them. How awkward is that?
That's weird.
Like me and my family, like I told Jules, we have kids, and you split up with me. My mom and y'all ain't gonna be like friends, and you're watching. She ain't gonna be watching the kids for you while you go do your job because it's cheap on you. Nah, bitch.
Nah.
That's just more ammunition for us to get custody and you to be paying. Like,
Well, I mean,
different kind of life, I guess.
Becca's still, every Wednesday, my kids still go to my parents, and I don't see them.
Are you not allowed to?
Yes, but I completely understand why. And it's not like she's ever been like, you can never see them. It's like, hey, let's work together so you could safely do this. And I've just been a piece of shit. It's been a slow process.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, my parents, like, I know they'll like, my mom still's like, that was my daughter-in-law. She's still my daughter. Just like your wife now is my daughter-in-law. She's my daughter. And it's like, I don't care that you don't like her. She's the mother of my grandkids.
Yeah.
So shake. And it's like, fair enough. But my ex-wife makes enough money to where it's clearly she's not using my parents. Like, she's just,
doing it because she doesn't want to keep them.
Yeah, from the grandkids.
Yeah, my parents weren't really ones that ever kept us from them, but they weren't going out of their way to, no, if she wants to see you, she can come get you.
Yeah.
That kind of, I don't got the gas to go all the way out there. So, yeah, that was how it always was with our family. But then my mom's moved out here from Virginia because my dad and mom, and we all lived in Virginia and North Carolina. And when she moved out here, she just put us in the back of a truck and left without telling nobody. And that turned into long custody court. Like, and I never wished that upon any kid to have to go through that. Because I was at that age. I didn't really understand. I remember I didn't see my parents. I don't really remember my parents ever being together.
Yeah.
My biological, So I remember seeing them, my first time I remember seeing them together in the same building, actually, was at a custody hearing. And like my mom, I think, had custody of us at the time. And I seen my dad. So I ran up to him trying to, and my mom's trying to keep me from not letting them see him. And they're fighting. And like they had some brutal fights, like cops.
Yeah.
Between, like the whole nine, like destroying a house and like between my mom and my nana and my dad and like, yeah, I really feel bad for my real dad because he went through hell with my mom. My mom was young.
So much that he's just like, fuck women.
Yeah, really.
Because that happened, like, I mean, I'm assuming it did not happen. Like, he just didn't, out of the blue, realize he was gay. But, like, that wasn't what caused. He knew for a long time.
No, it wasn't what caused. But he wasn't completely gay, obviously. He's had me and my sister, and then he had another marriage where he had a kid.
Yeah.
But they both came out of the closet. They were both on the same agreement. They were like them, greedy bisexual motherfuckers. They just got to have it all.
Cake and eat it too, baby.
Yeah. So... no, and the big thing is he wouldn't come out of my father wasn't going to come out of the closet until my grandfather, his dad, passed away because he wasn't going to even.
That was just not even.
It wasn't
not even an option.
Like I remember, I rented a little like condo that he had built off of one of the houses he had, and I rented that out. And I was dating this little black chick. No, we were messing around a lot, and my pops see me with her one day, and he's like, "Don't let your granddaddy see you with that girl up in that house."
You ain't got a house.
He's like, "You aren't gonna like the reaction, and don't you dare come home with a mixed baby and give it our last name and tell Grandpa." He's like, "He's not like that. That's not the kind of." I was like, "That's fucked up," and it actually gave me made me resent him because at this point in time, I had grown up calling a black man dad, and black woman grandma and cousins and shit like that. So him saying that, it made me really, really. Me and my real grandfather's relationship. But once we got it, like, I never heard him say a racist, derogatory thing. I think it was in my dad's head more than anything because of him being gay.
Yeah.
Like, yes, he didn't want, like, my granddaddy wasn't going to go out and be dating no black girl.
Yeah.
And like at that time, that when he grew up out in Eaton, North Carolina, and Bertie and all that, there was railroad tracks, and there was.
You on one side? Or the other?
Yeah.
You on the white side, or you on the other side?
No, well, we had a large piece of property in Carolina, and we had the furniture store, We had and we owned the funeral home. It was the Williford Funeral Home. We were the ones that trained Twyford's Funeral Homes, the guy that started that. And we we had the furniture store as well. And he would build my grandfathers and everything. They were master masons. So they were and they did furniture. So they did that, and I think the reason they got into funeral directory was the family business. There was Williford Family Home for a long time. We did the burying and all that.
That's weird. That's got to be weird.
And that's the only black person we had black families, but they weren't like slaves. I'm sure we had them at one point in time because we came here the second boat behind Columbus and held a very large piece of land in North Carolina. But we had the funeral home and the furniture store. Like we were the ones that donated a hearse to the county for the first ambulance, and no other place had an actual ambulance. So they used stuff like that. That was the kind of prominent figures they were at the time. My granddaddy, he ruined it all. He dropped out of the Mason, the Brotherhood or whatever it's called, and which I don't. I enjoy a good conspiracy, and I've heard them all about the Masons. But if I could get an invitation,
I'll take one of those too.
I would love to join because
I'd rather be what are they? Riders? The fucking little bike riders in the fucking parades with the hats. Not bikes, but little carts.
The little hats, Jewish?
No,
Jews?
No.
What are you saying? Man, were you gonna get canceled?
The little
here?
bikes, Jews. You know what I'm talking about. The little go-kart looking things in parades. They drive around Shriners. Yeah, that's what I want. I just want to get one of them carts, son. I want to get up in them carts.
There's multiple different. There's the Shriners. There's like something about something star. I don't know. There's all kinds. There's the golden, not the golden knights, the golden veil or the golden. I don't know. I just actually learned one about one reporter had seen on it. It was a YouTube video about it that he had he had read it. He kept catching this certain society that these prominent political figures would mention, but they would only mention them once here and there, and then he finally found them like.
The real
of a real secret society that they had.
That's fucking nuts. Yeah, my both sides of my mom's grandma, my mom's parents, she was adopted. But
Freemasonry isn't a secret society though. We have one of their main halls is. I mean, George Washington was a Freemason. One of the most famous pictures of George Washington, he's in a Freemason uniform.
Is that him crossing the river on the boat, the ice river?
No, he's sitting there and he's holding a. He's got the apron on exactly with the gold chain. He's got an apron on and he's got gold chains like that. Yeah. That's lapped on there, and he's holding. I forget what he's holding. I think it's a square and compass.
That was that kind of shit. That was my mom's grandpa. He was real into that kind of stuff. Well, my mom's dad, my grandpa. He was real into that shit. My mom's parents, her adopted parents, they were what I called rich racist. Like they're from the Farmington, southern Missouri, but they're rich and they were real fucking racist. My dad's family was
Missouri. Really wasn't. Missouri, I believe. Missouri had a lot of Indians. There wasn't, and this was a hodgepodge of. It was the Midwest. This was a big trading, trapping and trade kind of thing. They came here with pelts and furs. From what I've gathered of what I've watched and stuff, they've had here though. There was a lot of Indian tribes that were here in Missouri, and that were getting pushed here. Kokia, you had that, where you got the big mounds that are supposedly
those are really interesting,
like giants that are supposedly buried in them.
It's crazy.
Well, there's newspaper articles talking about giants being found in this town way south central Missouri. They found them. They were next to a mine shaft, but it was a family of giant skeletons. And it talks about them finding it, some details, talked about it a little bit, and then it said that the Smithsonian picked it up to verify
Yeah.
and never spoke of
And
again.
then they just dipped.
Yeah.
But yeah, my mom's parents, what was weird is they were rich racist and they were very vocal about it. My dad's family was just that southern blah, blah, blah racist. And the most he would get is a joke or two. He would never hear. And when I dated a black chick, my mom's mom was the one that was like, get that out of here. And it was like, my mom was like, this is my house, so no. My dad's family was just like, you're fucking a black chick? That's dope. We want to do it in high school too. Way to fucking live our life. Like, it was that shit. So it was just really weird. And then like both my parents, I don't know how, neither of them, as far as I've been able to tell, have no racist bone in their body. Like, they're the most neutral human beings ever.
I've never met a racist Jehovah's Witness, but I've met a classist Jehovah's
Oh yeah,
Witness.
they're absolutely classes, but they're like, it was just very odd. Like, because my parents were hippies before that, which is a weird.
See, I would intentionally hook up with him and bring back home because before my dad came out of the closet, he had a lot of repressed shit going on, and he's come out and said that he was absolutely wrong about things. But anytime he would try to show any kind of racist tendency, or a granddad would come out in him, I'd go pick me up a black chick. Now,
quick.
Yeah, I'd be like, well, I know which club I'm going to tonight, and I'd bring her home and walk her down the stairs at the next morning and be like, yeah.
There's Mercedes.
And until he realized, like, I'm doing it. Fuck you, fuck your thoughts. I don't have respect for that, and I shouldn't have to.
Yeah.
Like, you get no respect, and that's a big thing I had to ask my dad, my stepdad, my black dad. One big conversation we had a couple years back. I hit him up and called him. I was like, what is it that I could ever say that I can take pride in is for my history and my ancestry and everything? I was like, I know the truth. Like, I grew up calling you dad. I grew up listening to the stories you told me and seeing the view of the world from a different angle as much as I could. I'm not saying I was black and seen it black. I seen what they went through firsthand. I seen what my mother went through. I went through. We've had people spit in front of us and deny us shit and be called in-lovers and shit like that. Whatever. But I know how horrible our past is, and I know the people that put us through that. I seen, and I know. So I asked him, I was like, how do you really, truly, when you think about the truth, and you know, we all know, no matter how much heritage and pride they want to try to say they know deep down, our ancestors were the worst.
Fucking terrible.
Undeniably, the worst group of human beings to plague this earth. Mm-hmm. Like, we were the worst pandemic. We pushed our religion, and that religion, that Christianity bullshit is responsible for documented facts. Numbers have been counted for more deaths on earth than all political wars combined.
I mean, the fucking Crusades alone.
That's where the biggest numbers come from. But still, even
that whole Bible's every page is soaked in fucking blood of somebody else. Like,
and then you look at what they like the shit with Canada and America, with the children and the natives, the thousands of natives they've been finding buried up underneath these schools and shit. And it's like, what we did is, how do you take pride in that? How do you take any kind of like, I can't be proud of my ancestors and my there's nothing to be proud of. I understand that some people would call it privilege or something like that, but it's not privilege, because I don't have anything to look back on to be like, what would have my grandfather did? He would have probably blamed it on a black guy and got off.
Shit.
Like, so. But and what the way he answered it, which I think was pretty solid, he said you take pride in the fact that you're going to be the generation that changes it, that it ends with.
That's like a really cool way to think of it. I mean, how important is having something to be proud of like that to you? Like, because to me, that's never been something I really cared for.
You're not going to understand in the history. Yeah, we don't know them. We know what we did to them. Yes. We know what they go through. We've seen it. We see it firsthand. You know, when you walk down, if you were to walk down my street right now, I mean, down there in the neighborhood
Yeah.
by the fire department and everything, if you were to go out there and be walking, you're probably not going to get stopped and
No, I'm
questioned.
Gucci. Yeah.
But you know, if you were black, or if you seen a black man walking at this time in the fucking one of those neighborhoods in Jefferson County, he probably gonna get questioned what the hell he's doing.
At
Why
least.
is it just because? And it's a bias, and it so we know. So it's like we have to make sure the point he did make was is like, as long as you guys keep at making sure that it changes. You got to stick at it. You can't just let it fall to the side. He says, and if you do, and you make sure to end it by the time your kids are grow up, and they'll be the ones that say, we don't know. We truly don't know what of racism is. They've worked very hard. They protested a lot. They fucking burned down cities. They killed each other for
some real shit.
to wrongs rights, and eventually if we paid reparations. Yeah,
There's a really good comedian on the comedians season. I can't remember his name. I was talking to you about him last time, where he's like, all you need is just give black people reparations, and everybody's like, oh, we don't have enough money to give to everybody. And then all of a sudden COVID hit, and it was just like, oh god damn, like yeah. We could pay them. And he's like, if you give us reparations, we might even let you say the N-word. He's like, all we're asking for a little bit of money. And it's like, that's fucking great.
I have a bit about reparations. That was one of the first ones I wrote, and I hold it back. I think it's solid. I really do. It's I think I grew up understanding how horrible, it was, the history of the black people to get, anything, every step, every inch that they've gotten in progress has been a battle by my ancestors.
Yeah.
It was like, I can only imagine how big of a fight it was just to get a Black History Month. Like, I can only imagine my ancestors being like, they want what? They want a whole month? Not like a Cinco de Mayo weekend thing, a whole month? We can't do it.
What's the shortest one?
I can't do it. Sir, they just brought up this thing called reparations. What month did they want? What month do you think they want?
Hey, we got 12. We can give them one.
How about February? Well, my wife's born in February. Shut up, Billy. It's the shortest fucking one.
Give them February, because that's also President's Day. And there's never been a black president.
And he said somebody got smart talking about them reparations, and they were like, y'all want a month? We're going to give you a month. Like, who the fuck owns days? I can't pay for the fucking weed man or the bar tab with months or days. I don't care how many you got in your back pocket, bro. Like,
it's February, so
they want them greenbacks.
Free, right? Something I remember being fucking hilarious that you said. I don't even know if you said it on the podcast or if we were just talking, but somebody said something about your dreads, and it was like, it's cultural appropriation. And you're like, I come from a mixed family. I grew up around black people. I grew up with a black father. What fucking culture do I have then? And it was like, that's a good fucking point. Like, and also, it's hair. So
yeah, I mean, it's honestly the most. This is. Saying that I've called people out before. One person, they said that like they online, they said it to me. I was like, no, actually, I'm just fucking lazy and never wanted to brush it. So basically, what you just said is I appropriated black people's culture, and I'm telling you, I got it for being lazy because I didn't feel like doing it. So you just said that part of the black people's culture means they're lazy. Boom. And it was just like,
that person deleted their Facebook and shit. Like, I don't know how he did it, but he made me racist. I just think I think a lot of, especially white people,
I had one where one person got me, not me, but I got them, but it was, I ended up deleting it. And I'll say it, I don't give a fuck. They were because I called them out. They were like, all white people this. All white people have always been there. One of those, like, they just hate it. Get it? You got good foot to stand on with it. I understand, but one thing I point out to him was like, you really truly believe every white person in history, like during the times of were like slave owners and slavers and shit. What about all the white people that helped run the railroad, the Underground Railroad?
Yeah.
It wasn't just black people. It was actually majority ran by white people, sneaking them through and getting them through. A lot of white people. Yes, a lot of black people helped too, but there was a lot of white people. But they get swept right under the rug.
Yeah.
What about the white people the first white person that brought a piece of legislation to give the African Americans? So there were some good ones that have that knew, like there weren't all of us, like there was families out there that didn't own slaves, that had wanted nothing to do with slaves. And then I hit them with and I was like, you do realize one of the largest slave owners was black in America throughout the slave days. And I was like, and then do you realize that the black Americans, African Americans, had their freedom, while in Africa there was still Africans and European white people enslaved. Look up Bayberry, whatever it's called. I think it's called Barberry or Bayberry. It's all about a white European, Africans trading white people for slaves. They owned them as slaves. It was all around the world. It's just America that gets looked at like under the telescope.
I think the reason it's like that too is because majority of us, didn't get a real education and stuff like that. Like a history in public school is a joke. Like it's a fucking made up joke.
Antonio broke that one down for me because I asked him about critical race theory, and he straight up said, he's like, you're not he's like, I only had one teacher 1 year when they were being taught about this in history and in class, actually sat down and discussed with us about it and talked about what we thought about it, why it was going, actually, instead the rest of them just read this chapter, handed us the papers we were supposed to copy out of the chapter pretty much. I was like, get it. Because it's so hard for me to understand that a lot of white people don't understand that, like the critical race theory now there is a radical side of that's just like, what are you trying to teach these kids? But then there is, I realized it real young because I learned my grandfather was really into Indian culture, and he taught me about the Trail of Tears and about what genocide was. I remember learning about genocide from the Trail of Tears, and he explained what that was. And then, Hitler. And then one day it just clicked, and I think it was American history, like 9th grade. I was like, oh, we call it slavery. This was genocide. This was no different than what Hitler did for a much longer time. I was like, okay, he used some new age chemicals at that day and age. So the fucking noose was still pretty new at that time, I'm pretty sure. Like,
you don't think that would have been utilized if they had it?
They had just created the fucking wheel for the horse carriages. Like, they weren't that great of knot artists yet, but this person online just kept going at it like, no, and I was the reason everything is the way it is, you took all of our opportunities and we had no opportunities. If you would have never stolen us from Africa, I was like, okay. And this is what I had to delete. I was like, let me ask you this. Do you think if we would have never brought you here, if my ancestors that you're claiming stole you from your land and stole all your opportunity, do you think today, if you were still in Africa, you'd have more or less opportunities than you do here in America? And it was just like all the racists on the feed were like, and started talking. And I was like, that's too many yeehaws in this motherfucker.
Too many dudes with just
but I got my point across to where it was like there's it's a hard thing to talk about.
It really is,
especially because nobody wants to. But there are some little fucking, like, it's a dark thing. But there's a couple little pieces of fucking. Is that yours?
I have no idea. I don't think so. I don't usually smoke it.
Like, there's some little pieces of light that seep in, and like.
I think a lot of people need to, like, everybody needs to get real about themselves and their shit before, because it's like there's a lot of things where it's like, okay, the pendulum is definitely swinging, but it's over swinging, and everybody's like, well, it'll correct itself, and it's like, will it, or is it just going to continuously be two sides, three, whatever amount of sides, constantly not liking each other because they don't want to look at themselves and be like, oh, okay, this is it's a push and pull. Like, I'm sorry, like, yeah, you want to get over racism and stuff, but that doesn't mean you get to just be brought above white people. Like, that's not what you're wanting, is what you're saying, but that's what you're looking at to do. Like, sit there and just, if you want even, then you're gonna have to just allow that this stuff happened and move on.
Yeah, and this is something that of a high technological society that is very pampered and doesn't know much about survival, really. Like most of us nowadays, especially the new generation, you can't just put them outdoors. They are gonna fucking die.
Yeah.
They are not gonna survive. And at the end of the day, if they want to have that war, I look at most things and I'm like, what's the history? If I'm looking at a stock, I look at as much of the biggest timeline of the chart I can see of how it's reacting to the market, the history of it. And the history just isn't good for me to get on any other side, but I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And I don't want that I like I said, I seen what they go through firsthand, and it's horrible when, like, I hate anytime I've ever experienced racism, reverse or whatever it is they want to call it, because I do put myself in this situation all the time. Like, I went and seen Taylor Tales one night at this, it was like out on the east side.
Yeah, you've seen Taylor Tales, so.
Yeah, it was, I was the only white person in there, and it was like the record almost skipped when I walked in and everything, but I kicked it through the night, and I've dealt with them being like at the Busch Stadium was probably the worst because there was this black chick I was messing around with. She almost beat the other chick's ass that was being racist towards me. Like, she was like, "Where's my Vaseline?" and shit. And I was like, "Oh shit!" Yeah, she had like, this is the type of chick that like had to like the set on her neck and shit tatted up and shit. Like, she was bad, but she scared me a little bit. Like, she could take me. But I was the long-haired skater dude that would skate. Like, I'd skated the stair set right out there by the stadium before the games, and when I was on, waiting. So, I mean, her hit it off real well. But I've dealt with that before, and we have my aunt, my stepdad's sister she hated us, like, because we lived with them when we first moved out here. We were staying with them until they found a legit spot and everything. So we stayed with them in the basement they had, and they hated us, like my aunt and them, because they're in the hoods. Like, her son's dad had just like lost his life because they shot him in the back and shit. Like, while I don't know the whole story, but it was fucked up, like the shit that they did. So they're not used to white people being right up underneath the roof with them. Yeah. So I understood it. And now their brother that was in the military did 4 years Army, 4 years Navy, and doesn't never been to prison, doesn't have any charges. He's working on building his own company and stuff coming here, and a white girl then took one of the good men is how they look at it.
I've heard stuff like that.
It is it is a big thing. You'll hear that a lot, like white women stealing all our good men, and it's so hard not to be like it's hard. I don't know, the shit I just seen on TikTok the other night was this chick come in and they were like a library or something. They're all sitting there and she's like, excuse me.
This is for the black space and you need to leave?
Yes. I was like,
it would take everything out of me not to just laugh.
I would laugh. I would just laugh and walk away. Just like the video, the little white dude at college that's got the dreads, and that there's this a black chick and this other black dude that's sitting there, and he's just like trying to leave. He's just walking to his guy's headphones in, and she is just grabbing him and pulling him back and yelling and belittling him and all this other shit. And he finally was like, he started to speak up for himself, but like she grabbed him and pushed him around, like, and she was much bigger than he was too. She was like a lineman for the football, the college team there, and he was this little little fucking. His hair was as big as he was at this point, and
She
would have been dropped. I would have dropped that. I don't care, female or male. I would have chopped
like
you in your throat.
That do that it's like they don't realize that like I'm gonna hit you and I'm gonna hit you harder than you've ever been hit in your life. And I'm not gonna, because you came at me like if you don't touch me, whatever, yell in my face, I'm gonna talk back, but I'm not gonna hit you. But if you grab me, I'm knocking you the fuck out, guy or girl. But a girl, I'm hitting you harder than you've ever been hit. So like, are you sure you're just confident enough to just walk up and grab somebody like that?
I've never knocked or hit a chick, but I have shaken the fuck out of.
I haven't either. Nobody's ever come up and like shaken me like that. But it's like if you come up and you
that's what you do if they hit or try to. I had a girl
if you come up and hit me, I don't give a fuck. I'm hitting you back.
I had a chick. One chick got me into a fight with these bunch of these tourists from Pennsylvania. I remember we got into a fight. We were living together, and I was like, "Fuck this." She got in the shower. I'm like, "I'm out of here." Packed up my shit real quietly and rolled out. She comes running out of the house after me in her towel and shit, and I got my book bag on with my shit like this. And I'm walking, I got my headphones, and she comes up and hits me in the back of the head and snatches me up by my hair, rips the dread out at the time, and is like pummeling me, right? And all I can do, because my hands are up underneath my bag, and she's got my shit like this, so I can't do nothing. So I just turn, and like, she's tiny, and I just like a toss, because I just threw her right off my bag, and she went skidding across the goddamn road. And like towel goes off. All these drunk fucking tourists are up on their beach cottage, goddamn thing, the porch, and see it, and they come down wanting to be, "Hey man, that's a female." I was like, I didn't even fucking do anything. I'm literally got a busted lip, like a swollen little eye, because she was whacking me, and I got like hair missing all over the street, and. Yeah, and she got a little skinned up knee because she fell off my backpack.
She got luck.
Yeah, and the motherfuckers, though, let me tell you, they won the war. I caused more damage money wise, and this is out of the statute of limitations. I think. All right, what happened was.
See what happened.
Yeah, see, like I didn't have to fight them right then and there either. Like they were talking shit, and then like it was still pretty busy, and it wasn't nighttime. I was like, fuck that. It's like, as soon as it gets nighttime, right there at the beach, I was like, meet me by the water. We'll scrap it out. I'll scrap all of you motherfuckers. One-on-one, we'll do it like that.
We'll run this.
So I got all the boys with me. We're all skied up for fucking waiting on these dudes. They never showed up. Well, my house, you don't bring your shoes on in because you're on the beach, and so you always take. I just got a brand new pair of skate shoes called S's. They were the S's, man. It was so sweet, and these motherfuckers took one of them and completely sawed it in half, like perfectly, and then set it back up on our porch.
That's a bitch move, though.
Like to where I went to go pick it up and put it on, and
okay, that's hilarious, but still a bitch move.
So I did the next bitch move. They had.
Well, they didn't show up. That's what made that a bitch move.
Well, they had big old truck that they were using to take out fishing and go driving. That was from there, and that's how I knew they were from Pennsylvania, because of their license plate, and one of them was a fire department. But I tell you what, them tires get expensive, and so does that sugar in that tank, and so does them fucking. And you know what a goddamn airsoft pellet gun can do to a windshield with no one hearing shit?
Shocking.
Yeah, and it doesn't bust it out; it just shatters it to where you can't even see out of that shit.
What was that? Is that a pebble?
Yeah, that just put it this way, it went out on a flatbed. Like it went out on a flatbed.
I'd have been out there with my coffee that morning, just like.
I mean, there was no coffee. We were fucking drugged up, drinking, boozing, sitting out there already drunk at 11 o'clock with all the boys just like, your move, ball's in your court, what you want to do?
You know, if you're
live here.
Yeah, you know, if you're somewhere on a vacation, you start a fight with somebody and he's like, fuck that, meet me here. Yeah. You're lost. There's a local person. That's what we would
do with the tourists, man. You get into a fight and be like, fuck that, come down here at the beach so the cops ain't gonna fuck with us.
Not only you
and then
lost,
where the water's at, you grab them and pull them. You're like, come on in the water, I'll drown your motherfucking. They get fear, and then like you kick a foot full of sand right up in their face and blind them. pummel their ass to the ground and get them just a little deep the water a little bit and just act like you're gonna drown them a little bit. Or if
That's
you
horrifying.
get them out into the water that's up like by your waist, you just let all the breath out. You just and grab them and pull them underneath and just hold them there. And they freak out and they panic and they exert so much energy, which it depletes the oxygen, and they really start getting scared. And you can feel them getting scared.
I always like whenever you do something like that, because it's like you immediately have to save that person. Like you immediately, like, all right, come on, you're fine.
Yeah.
Like
You're literally in chest high water
that
too.
disrespect after you do something like that, they're just like, all right, come on. Like that is the most disrespectful baller shit ever. Like if you knock somebody out and roll them on their side and like make sure they don't die.
Yeah, it doesn't always
Baller.
end up in your favor just because I've had my ass kicked a little.
No,
This
yeah,
nose
I mean,
ain't crooked. But
I've gotten beat up a few times, but like
mine, for the worst was like not the worst. Like the best time and the worst time though. Like I got knocked the fuck out by an old dude for hitting on his old lady one night, and I didn't know they were like. I didn't know it was like because she had been waiting there. I had seen her a few times around town. I went in there and started hollering at her, and then this dude I ain't never seen come up there and was like, "Yo, you're in my seat. Excuse me, sir." And he was an older gentleman,
just polite as fuck.
yeah. And the motherfucker, I got I was already snotty, so and at that time 20, 21 years old, I was fucking. I was just trying to prove something to this pretty little older lady, because I was into older ladies. They would pay my rent. And yeah, we can do it too, bitch.
It's called thinking ahead.
But I don't even know what I said. I laughed in his face. I just looked at him with my beer and was like, I don't know if I told him to get me another beer or what I said to this motherfucker, but all I know is him helping me up and sitting me down in one of the table chairs that was there.
Probably bought you a beer.
Yeah. And appetizers, and taught me a little bit about life.
That
a
man,
little bit about life.
It was, oh God, that's perfect. I love that. Like
I paid for everything at the end of the night, just because that's how like it turned into that. And I had money.
Yeah.
At the time, I was. You can check the resume.
See, the hardest I've ever been hit was not. I mean, I was hit by an older guy.
Yeah, this old man knew how to hit. It wasn't a big man. They just know how to hit. Like my brother, Zach, he was a wrestler and all that shit. It wasn't a technical new moves and shit. Nah, he just grabbed you and fucking would not. You weren't getting out. He had hands, man. That was just fucking like they're like this big, and he's as tall as me, but he's just strong. Just well, in genetics they call them like there's a predominant like 60 or 70% of the men in prison that have like the real aggressive tendencies and everything have an extra chromosome, extra Y or something like that, or X or something like that. If you look at it, the Punnett squares are how they did it in science class when we were kids. But yeah, it's called the super male. There's an actual.
There's always been. I've always felt there was always a difference of people. Those people that were just like, I'm ready to go fight somebody, and I was always like, I don't want to do that shit. Like I'm at a bar just to drink.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure though it's called the super male gene or something like that. Because I remember learning about that shit as a kid.
Yeah, but like, cause the guy who hit me, I deserved it. Cause I was in a rugby game at a tournament in Nashville, Tennessee called Nash Rash. It's called Nash Bash, but whatever. And my job was very similar to the job I held in hockey, which was go out there, make people hit you. Like not tackle you, make them hit you and get in trouble. And I was like...
so you were the goon?
Kinda. I didn't hit back. I couldn't fight back. And I was also really good at rugby, but that was just an added thing. And so I talked shit, and I would start to talk shit as the ball would get to me more, because once the ball was in my hands, I was fine. And so I would start doing things, and I'd show them that I was better than them, and then I would start fucking shot. And I fucking... Before the even first half ended, I got punched in the face by the wing who was lined up against me. He gets red carded, so now they're down a man the rest of the game. I get punched in the face by their fly half, which is basically the QB. He's red carded. So then I'm like, I don't really have anybody else I'm worried about. So I'm standing on the sideline as the wing. I'm lined up on their sideline, and I look over and I see their coach. And so for the next half and a half, I just sat there and dap all day to him. He doesn't even fucking look at me. Just stone cold. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to break this guy. After the game, we dominated. After the game, we all go back to the bar. Both teams go back to the bar. Like always happens. I'm going to grab a beer. He's going to grab a beer. And so I kind of do that cocky like so. And I start just going at him again, like telling him, I was like, I'm actually the coach of your team now. I was like, did you not see what the fuck I just did out there? Blah, blah, blah. Puts his beer down and he looks at me and he's like, soccer's a game for gentlemen played by hooligans. Rugby's a game for hooligans played by gentlemen. And then punched me in the face, knocked me the fuck out.
Give it that real man punch.
Helped me up. My coach helps me up. They both pretty much almost same thing. Sit down and go over the respect and the dignity that you must carry during a rugby game, and like all that talking on the field's cool to players. Don't ever do that to a coach again. My coach is telling you this. He looks at me and he's like, I will say this. He's like, you can talk. He's like, you're very good at that. He's like, and you're a very good rugby player. He's like, but you're not a good rugby player if after the game you can't turn that shit off. And I was like, oh shit. And I was like, when it's like I realized like, oh, this is an intense game that you play, but yeah, at the end of the game, you need to shake that man's hand.
Be all out on the field.
You need to buy that man a beer, shake his hand, and call it a day.
Yeah, it's just like a lot of fighters, because you see a lot of fighters and they fight 12 rounds and they hate each other during 12 rounds, but at the end of it, they go have a drink.
Yep.
Or,
Dude, that shit's, I've been watching a lot of UFC lately, and like.
Yeah, a lot of that shit's all just.
All the shit talking is definitely. For ticket sales.
You seen fucking Mayfield and Pacquiao hugging that shit out.
That's because they both just realized how much money they fucking made. And Pacquiao, that fight I think was really more fans, people talking. I don't remember exactly. I didn't watch that fight, but I remember
he had a fucked up hand, but he didn't. He wanted to say nothing about it because he was.
That sounds about right. Because that fight took a while to make happen. It kept falling through for some reason.
But Mayweather come out on top every fucking time.
Mayweather's always going to come out on top.
I've always wanted to see him lose, but by the points and by the he's the champ when it comes to strategically boxing. And that's his aim. He's a smart boxer. He knew not to get hit.
And he's not even a boring boxer. He's a fun boxer to watch. He's just not knocking anybody out.
He's pretty boring.
I liked it.
I like Tyson boxing.
Oh, I love Tyson boxing. Tyson boxing is.
I miss the Lennox Lewis's, the Vander Holyfields, the Tysons. See, that's what I grew up on as a little kid watching.
You like them heavyweights.
Yeah, I seen, and we would always go. Me and my stepdad and everybody. We'd always go to like my uncle Billy's. Has a real nice pad set up. He retired from GMC. Real badass, fucking cool ass place. Think of the scoreboard's basement, but like actually
done up
correctly, like records from floor to ceiling all the way down in the like badass lighting, and then a studio, like a real booth and studio to do like doo-wop temptation shit. Like
when a man has the money to do something with his basement.
And he was single, like he has kids, but they got his wife and them separated years and years and years ago. So, and he didn't want another wife or anybody living with him. It was him, and he's still to this day like.
I mean, the key.
And he's the coolest man I know. Like just cool. Like my stepdad. Yeah, is one of the coolest dudes I know too. It's just like actually cool. Yeah. Like this motherfucker is just cool as cool.
Got it.
Like he's like a cool. Side of fucking ranch cool.
Like this motherfucker's a movie character cool. Like
the pickle and the cucumber are jealous. And
the other side of the pillow cool.
So, but his older brother, my Uncle Billy, he's just like the smoothest OG that you ever know, and he's one of the ones that's always got the real nice dress pants, but like the those how they wear those the flowing.
Now, based on the way you're talking, this is your stepdad's family?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, he wears the Kangol.
He's
got the crown gold tooth. He don't got the whole gold tooth. It's just the outline of it. Real fucking.
Bluetooth? Bluetooth?
No.
Oh.
Well, maybe he might have had one back in his, for a while, but no. He's got the Kangol, he's got that, and he usually has like a doobie sitting in the ashtray, and he doesn't smoke very much, but he's always sitting behind the soundboard. He controls all the music that's going in around, just stacks and stacks and stacks of Stevie CDs
Black
and
families
music.
Are so much cooler than white families.
Oh, dude, and the fucking food every time, because it's just like, God, catering almost. It's like a fucking full blown catering that they.
First black cookout I ever went to, I was like, can we just do this every day from here on out? Like, this was the most fun I've ever had, and the best food I've ever had. And I was
The food, like, I didn't realize the difference until I got older to when I was like, but see, I'm down south, they know how to cook too.
yeah, down south you got good food.
Yeah, we got barbecue, like real barbecue. Out here, y'all have barbecue is whatever meat you put on the grill and slathered in ketchup-based barbecue sauce. Where I'm from, barbecue is pulled pork.
That fucking, like,
pulled
famous
pork.
barbecue spot we have here. It's like, why do we have a famous barbecue spot? Because like I've never had.
Yeah. I
any
think
good
Kansas has a style, their own style, but
what
Missouri's
is that place
style
called,
is
though?
like we're just gonna put it on the grill and slather it
No,
in
it's not
sauce.
good.
All of it, the
Everybody
hamburgers,
always
the
wants to be
hot
proud of
dogs.
food, and it's like St. Louis should be proud of, like, we have the Blues Museum. Like we were pretty
My
much.
dad really likes Emos. My one from
No,
Carolina.
fuck that pizza. That's not pizza. That's a cracker with fake cheese melted on top. It's gross. I hate it.
What I see when I think of St. Louis as a kid, because I lived in Virginia, when my mom's lived out here. Steak and Shake I recognized as a St. Louis thing. White Castles I recognized as because we didn't have none of those on the East Coast.
Crowns or not crowns?
Crystals.
Crystals.
But that still wasn't out there on the coastline of the beach.
Okay.
And the beach I lived on, a lot of this stuff is all local owned, smaller.
That's
like
East
its
Coast,
own
right?
yeah. East Coast. It's the graveyard of the Atlantic where I live.
That's the coast I like. The East Coast.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I really want to do. I've been really thinking hard about like New York.
That's my goal. If I don't buy a church, that's where I'm going. I'm not ready for it yet, but fuck it. I'm not doing anything here. So
Yeah, well, it's expensive as fuck out there.
that's the only thing. Yeah, it's like
I just gotta have to be set up to get there because I'll DoorDash and Uber. You know, I just gotta make sure. I think I want to do it once I'm able to. I want to save up and get me another new car, like trade in the what I got and get another brand new one that's under warranty again, and something a little bit bigger. You know,
even if I get the church, I mean, eventually I would give that, like, sell it off, and I want to go to New York. Never L.A. Never. Ugh.
I want to go to Texas and New York. I really do want to perform. I want to go down there to New York.
I would like to perform and stuff.
I want to check
Texas.
it out for a couple of weeks and really see what it's like for a week or maybe more. Do some comedy, and then I want to go to Texas and check that out. I want to there's some Asheville's got some good places.
Yeah.
Raleigh, Durham, like there's a lot of little.
There's like a lot of those weird, like, odd, famous comedy spots, like in Peoria, Illinois. The fucking Jukebox Comedy Club is like this weirdly famous comedy club, and it's in the middle of Peoria, Illinois, and connected to a strip club.
Hit me up. That's a real comedy club. That's how comedy clubs. That's where like Lenny Bruce used to cut his teeth was at strip clubs. Like that's where he got his start. He'd perform his
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that in the mic.
But that's what comedy used to be told. The good like Lenny Bruce and those guys that time.
Who was I talking to about this the other day? Lenny Bruce.
I don't know. I fucking ordered a poster of Lenny, a big black and white Lenny Bruce poster, and they canceled it.
That's weird.
It's happened to me twice.
For the Lenny Bruce poster?
Not Lenny Bruce, but the SSD that I had ordered.
Oh, okay, yeah. And that was Amazon?
No.
Oh.
No, it was another place that I found a deal through. That was the 2 terabyte one. But I'm glad I didn't get that. I'm glad I got this one because it was a different brand.
But Lenny Bruce, man. I got nothing off of that. I don't know much about him. I mean, I know what every comic knows about him because they've all told me.
Yeah.
But like, I couldn't tell you a joke he's told. I know what he looks like and what he sounds like and what he kind of stands for, which is cool.
Yeah, most people, like comedians, when they first get into comedy, they really look it all up, and I would think most study it a little bit when they really decide to do it, and they look into Lenny Bruce and they see his one videotaped. Yeah. The special where it's at the end of his career.
Isn't it where he's reading off the charges, which is weird? It's not. It's weird.
Yeah. He's reading off
I'm pretty sure
the
he's
charges.
just strung out.
He's reading off the court hearing of him being prosecuted of a cop acting as Lenny Bruce and repeating him because they didn't want Lenny Bruce to say it. So a cop was saying it as Lenny Bruce. So and he was reading that and reenacting the cop being Lenny Bruce.
Layers.
Yeah.
But it was still very odd.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't good. And everybody had said that. But there is a couple little clips out there here and there. That Amazing Mrs. Maisel was really good, but they were still really dark in there. Like he's a dark character that's not around very much.
Yeah.
He comes and goes, but
I enjoyed that character, and I guess it seemed like he was pretty close to ish of who he was.
Yeah, and I just don't know if I want to watch the 90s and 2000 movies that they've made about him. I think they got one or two.
No, they made the one with fucking called Lenny. Yeah. I don't want to watch that. I don't know.
I want to see it. I just haven't gone out of my way to see it.
I think I've said this a few times in this podcast. That, like, I just don't like stand-up comedy anymore.
It's hard for me to find. Like
it's boring. It's getting really boring.
Good. I haven't found. Like I just watched studying up on John Caparulo's.
Yeah.
I watched one of his earlier ones. Loved it.
Yeah.
I loved a guy. Drake Sather. I don't know where I heard the name from, but I heard it, and he was traveled with Norm Macdonald a lot.
Oh, yeah, you showed me him. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought he was great. The guy, I forget his name, the no-name comic with the paper bag over his head.
I've seen
comes out and does
something like that. Yeah,
does a bunch of different like short, easy one-liners that are dumb, but it's unique.
I just like I know Louis C.K.'s hilarious, but when I watch his special, just like I watch anybody's special, it's like, okay, I get it. Stand-up comedy, set up, punch, set up, punch. However, that's the same formula every time. Like you're really good at it and it's funny, but it's like everyone does it. So that's why like my favorite kind of comics are like Roy Scovel and like
there's a difference.
But it's like even like there's different forms of just that, and it's like that was all that was happening like in the beginning, obviously, and then it's like now it's again like Louis C.K. is very good at it and it is very funny, but it's just boring to me. And I'm not saying I like have this.
It's it's good. You know the material is good, but I don't want to just like make it just Louis. There's only you're basically saying it's kind of like beating a dead horse. Like go outside of your comfort zone. I'm
not saying he should change it up. He's obviously he's doing something that works, and it's like and it's new and funnier each time. So it's not. I'm not saying it's bad.
It's still funny.
It's just like
I just the same thing all the other comics have.
Like Dave Chappelle, like from Killing Him Softly to now, like it's just not gotten better.
It's really gonna be hard for the Killing Him Softly.
And it's like, and that was his most silly. Like Chappelle show was so silly, and then it's like now he's.
You're talking about the one where he's talking about the monkeys, people having sex with monkeys created AIDS. And
I think that's
where he's talking about the buses held up by a guy jerking off.
I know that one is in the Chip now, where he's talking about the white dude going up to the cop and he's like, he was admitting shit he didn't need to. He's like, I'm a little high. He's like, excuse me. He's like, relax, buddy. You're on Fish Street.
Yeah, always. Is he the one that did not smoking no more? And it's like, with black people, you didn't let me finish.
Yeah.
And don't get too excited, white people. You win by default. Like, y'all just have good weed conversations. Like,
yeah, dude, that shit's so fucking funny.
That was like the best. Yeah, that's what I see when that right there is probably a big reason I didn't get into comedy sooner, was because I grew up watching that. If you really want a good 100 like laugh from the beginning to the end comedian, like that you probably never seen their stand up, but they got like 3 or 4 of them specials out that are just fucking gut wrenching, hilarious. Jamie Foxx is a comedian.
I've never seen him do stand up, but I know I've seen him come through Funny Bone since I was in high school. I've never seen it, but I've never watched his stand up.
Jamie Foxx is the most
Wait, Jamie. Okay.
Jamie Foxx. He
Okay.
was.
I knew Jamie Foxx did comedy.
Also did. He does
I was
music.
thinking Jamie Kennedy for some reason.
Jamie Kennedy's fucking hilarious.
I have seen Jamie Foxx do stand up, but it was a long time ago. I couldn't.
Yeah,
I don't remember shit, but I do remember him being funny.
He got he did the Jamie Foxx show. For one, he did In Living Color, right?
Living Color was great, yeah.
Yeah, and he's
incredibly talented elsewhere.
Dude, was it that Marvin Gaye, that Luther Vandross?
Shit's fucking hot.
He's been a singer for a long time. He sang for a long time, but it was just like
he portrayed Ray Charles.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's after people actually started recognizing his singing. He didn't. Actually, Kanye was one of the ones that really made him kind of switch it up. I heard a story that he came in and he was trying to do when Jamie was singing around Kanye and them because he had this music that he wanted him to do. I think it was for Overnight Celebrity. It was when that song was being put together. He was doing all that the typical R&B pop kind of sound,
yeah.
And then he said, "Stop doing that. Do it like this." Lil Kanye was a cocky little motherfucker. He wasn't famous yet at the time.
I love
just
him.
Being introduced.
I love him.
Yeah, and was like, "Sing it do it like this," and he did it, and I think Jamie said it helped him find another side of it, how to not be, "Oh, Jamie, you so silly, you're so funny," because that was really hard for him to get away from. In the music industry, he was the funny guy, and because he does impressions, one thing. He does impressions, his storytelling is just this story he talks about doing Any Given Sunday with LL Cool J, and him and LL Cool J getting into it and shit. And him and him pissing off Mike Tyson by talking shit. I heard you telling jokes, Jamie. I heard you fucking telling jokes. Where's the jokes now, Jamie?
Fucking, isn't he he's at the intro of Gold Digger, isn't he? Isn't he the?
Yeah,
Did you take my money?
Yep. That's
Dude, Kanye was fucking.
Oh yeah, he put out he put out shit, but I was never. I'm still a lot. I get it. I know how monumental College Dropout was, and I know how monumental fucking The Carter was, but I just did not like it was at that time of the music industry was when I felt rap was changing and I was really growing out. I had just found, I think it had a lot to do with the friends I had. I just got back into surfing and moved back onto the beach, and there was just always reggae and punk rock and all of that, and I've always been into a lot of different music, and it was just I did not like Lil Wayne. I didn't like what
Dude,
was.
I
think
Wayne.
he started the mumble rappers.
Probably
at the end of his shit, all that lean and all that. When at the end he came out, and I would give it to him. He did some stuff that was
No really, Ceilings is probably one of the greatest.
But I don't think he's the GOAT. I don't think he's anything like that. I don't think he has a right to be compared to Pac or Big or I don't even think he holds a candle to Big L or the Guru Gangstar.
But things so funny thing about the lean, I saw him at Chaffetz Arena one time, and probably 5 or 4 times throughout his set, he completely forgot the lyrics to his song because he was fucked up.
Oh, I hate rap concerts.
That him and his DJ were going at it because his DJ was as a childhood friend, and he's like, "You're killing yourself." And so they would get into arguments, and we're like, "Is this a bit?" And it was at the end of the show. It was almost sad because whenever I was getting into Wayne, there was a YouTube documentary or something that follows him in Amsterdam, and they would after his shows, he would just go to his fucking van. He would have a microphone set up, and he would watch Sports Center, and he would just fucking listen to beats and make up raps. He wouldn't write anything down, and it would just be dope shit. And it's that guy, No Ceilings, fucking Wayne is hard. Fucking whatever 2 albums into his career, Wayne is just a guy who's really high and kind of an idiot.
What turned me off from Wayne from the beginning was I know it. I still remember like it was yesterday. My ADHD brain just got it. Like it was. I was riding the car, and all day long that I kept hearing that fucking fire truck siren
That
from
song
Fireman.
is,
I'm the fireman. I was like, God,
yeah,
I
with
hate
Birdman
this
and
fucking
shit.
song. Yeah, his fucking butt buddy. And yes, they was some. Like I think Birdman was groomed Lil Wayne.
Oh, I believe that 100%. I could see that. That's a
Like,
weird relationship.
it's
A
a
very weird relationship.
very weird. And Birdman been in it and been one of the in that says that higher up class, for a
Yep.
while.
Because like with the especially that time of hip hop, that was whenever like I was somehow introduced. I don't remember how. Got into like the underground hip hop, like MF Doom, and that's where that's where I found out about like ASAP, and that's where I found out about like all these fucking people. And I was coming from listening to my mom's Dougie Fresh albums and fucking, and I listened to Dougie Fresh today right before he picked me up. That's what I was listening to. Like fucking Slick Rick and shit like that. Like
Uncle Ricky,
fucking children's story. Yeah, like I've been trying to find that shaker sound from
Once
fucking
upon a time,
dude.
not long ago.
You can't find them anywhere. Yeah, dude, that shit was like my fucking shit. So like whatever Wayne was cool back then, I liked a little bit of fucking. I loved 3 6 Mafia.
I hated 3 6
They
Mafia.
were
I just thought all they did was talk. It was like, we riding spinners, dog.
They used to be
spinners. They weren't like. I just never thought they were like the rap. Yeah, see, that's where everyone expected me to be into like Wiz Khalifa. Wasn't big fan of his either. I don't think a lot of his shit sounded the same.
His was fun, I guess, but it all sounded the same.
It all sounded the same. He talked about the same shit. I get it. He's talking about getting fucked up and partying, and that's what the kids wanted. But that was at my age, and I just wasn't into it. I was much when it came to rap. Like, yeah, it was like Big Big L, Ghostface. Gangstar was probably one of my top.
Fucking Wu-Tang shirt. Like,
and like though, and then Nas, and then
Nas
I got
was
into
fucking
really
dope.
like Murs and Atmosphere.
I like Atmosphere.
Dude, like the Atmosphere is probably one of my favorites.
I've always liked the East Side style, like boom bap hip hop. I don't want to say I didn't like Tupac. I just don't listen to Tupac. I don't know. I know one of his songs, and it's because it's California Love.
Growing up, me and Antonio, I remember we were like huge fans. Like I had all kinds of posters. Shit, I still got those. Are from when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Like those are the ones that survived, but I had a lot more.
Like I'm just an unknowledgeable person of Tupac, so I don't know anything.
I was really big into him. I had all of his albums, but then when I started getting older. And really, when I really got into hustling too, I really started listening to more Biggie. Like Biggie, Pac was all of that flashy, just typical. Like you knew back in that day, it was West Coast dudes had the low riders that were hopping and jumping, and they were fucking rolling down the street in their 6'4".
Yeah.
And they were real flashy with the cash. Like East Coast style rap was all about hustling. It was in New York. It was fucking grind, dipping in and out of alleys, being chased by the fucking police. And it was, being up in crack buildings and shit like that. That's what I always think when I think of East Coast rap. I think of like the movie, Juice.
I just watched that 4 days ago.
That shit like that,
fantastic.
Or Above the Rim.
Belly.
Yeah, Belly, Above the Rim, fucking. But then when I think of West Coast rap, I think of South Central. I think of
horns.
I think of just all the. Most of the gang, what is it? Blood in, blood out, or whatever.
Blood in, blood out, baby. The Bang Bang wants a gang.
Yeah, just the some of the biggest actual gang movies were,
fucking
East Coast,
Colors,
West Coast, Colors,
which has my favorite actor of all time in it, only because he's still famous, and also kidnapped and held hostage Madonna for like 3 weeks.
Hey. What do you think about how anxious and nervous do you think the whole crew of American History X and production team is with getting canceled today? Like, man, I hope they don't find that fucking movie. God, Edward Norton's probably like, God, I hope they don't find.
I was only fucking.
I didn't mean to say it.
I
They
was just
made
the
me.
Hulk. I was just the Hulk. Don't go past that. Don't go past the Hulk. Dude, that movie.
They're like, it's coming. We're gonna get canceled.
Did you like that movie?
What, American History X? Yes.
I think people jocked it up a little too hard.
It let me see. I heard about growing up in a black family. I heard about these people and how horrible they were. And I was like, I ain't never met them, never seen it. And then I seen that movie, and I was still a very young kid when it came out. And I remember watching it, and I was like, holy shit. This is real, because I knew this was a white person movie. This wasn't like this wasn't made by, it didn't have fucking Spike Lee's name on it and
Spike
shit.
Lee joint.
Yeah, it was so I seen that, and then the fat dude in it, that's what really threw me off
because of Remember the Titans.
Yes, and then he's in there with the talking about washing his hands, and I was like, this was like, it blew my mind, and that's why I think I have to say, because it was a good, well put together movie, and it helped people like me, which are far and few between, really realize like, oh, they're not lying, like this is real. And I was so young, and I was just like, people really can be like this, and it helped me understand and realize like, okay, you're right, like I never seen it, but yeah, we some devil ass motherfuckers. Like, I
think definitely because we come from different backgrounds, especially like when I've seen a lot of movies like that I saw at that like younger age that like just didn't like. I have friends, or I remember in high school, they would always talk about like their favorite movies, and they would always try and pick these profound movies like American History X and all this. And then as I got older and I saw them and looking back, it was like, none of us fucking understood what those fucking movies were. We idolized Tyler Durden and shit like that. And it's like, what? Like, I didn't really like Fight Club. And then I read the book, and I was like, that's not what happened in the movie at all. Like, this is a very gay book. Like, this is a very homoerotic book. And it's like, you're not supposed to like this guy. He's a piece of shit. And it's like, yet in the movie, everybody's like, ah. Yeah, and we were also young kids. And it's like, so we, like American History X, I remember people just kind of laughing at shit. I understood
it was like so fucking well. I remember seeing it, and then I remember seeing a scene where he's in prison and he gets pissed off at the other Nazis for selling heroin or whatever to white people, and he calls them out about that. You don't poison our own kind. And I noticed, I was like, he really did believe. In my head, I was like, oh, he really believes that he is the superior being that white people don't need. As like, and I'm at the time living around junkies, and I'm like, there ain't, So it really opened my eyes to. I
hadn't seen a junkie until I was like 20 something. Well, I mean, I'd probably seen them, but I didn't actively know that I was looking at a junkie until I was like 20 something.
Yeah, I remember we had.
Upper middle class was pretty nice in some aspects, pretty terrible in other aspects.
When I lived with my pops, and when my pops finally started getting his checks from the government, because he lost his arm when I was first born. He lost his arm to a boat propeller in the Coast Guard. So he was still working. I remember when he finally got his like discharge and as approval for Social Security and his handicap and everything and all of his benefits from the military for giving them an arm by a boat propeller, shredding it off in the middle of the Chesapeake Bay.
This cost me an arm and some of a leg.
It did, because they grafted the skin off of his leg to his arm.
That joke worked without intentionally meaning it to.
And back in 89, 90, it wasn't the best.
Yeah, in fact, there was no computers like that were doing that.
So,
no computers. Yeah, there were.
So I was like, I could remember. So I was like easy 8, 9 years old before he finally got his money. So we didn't have the best of places. But my mom and my stepdad, like, they were always humble when it came to, like, my dad had a bunch of credit cards but he has guaranteed credit, because he's guaranteed whatever the 99% handicap retired veteran is, which I think is up to like $4,500 to $4,800 a month. Maybe it might even be like $5,000 a month now. So he has no problems he always had nicer vehicles after he got approved because the money comes right directly deposited into his account on the 3rd of every month. Before it hits his bank, they know the banks knows the car is going to get its payment first. Before he gets paid, the bank will get paid. So he always usually gets automatic approval.
Yeah.
But and so he had a nicer house and everything. My mom didn't. They built a small little house cleaning company, got a bunch of really great customers, and built a really good name. But they never expanded. They were always never willing to take the risk of hiring someone because they're worried about they're going to steal or they're not going to do a good enough job. And they would always live in these really horrible, shitty places like Shangri-La. They still live there. Been there like 24, 25 years. It's the worst of the worst. Just put it this way, like Jefferson County Sheriff's Department, St. Louis County's fucking police department, and Highway Patrol be up in there and patrol it all day.
See, I've always had the argument that
we regularly saw ATF and DEA clearing out a building full of meth heads and cooks and zip tie them. There's so many, and sitting them down on the curb while they fucking intake them and put them into different vehicles. And we regularly see that. The DEA cops, I remember like yesterday, they had shirts on, and remember back in the day, they had shirts that said "Got Milk." These said "Got Meth" on it.
Of course.
And
so I've always had the argument, and I think this proof right here is best thing for kids is to have the best of both worlds. Like you need to have a nice cushier kind of life, and then you need to you need to have a bad kind of life. And my example is, I had a great childhood. You had a little bit of both. You have a house. I live in my in-laws' basement. You're a very intelligent, smart thinker. I'm pretty ridiculous.
You just have to figure out how to tap into the same thing that you use to write jokes. Like what we do is also a very intelligent thing for dumb people. There's not many, if any, I wouldn't say any real comedian that is dumb. If they're able to.
I don't know if I'm dumb. I just think you're more well-adjusted for life than I am. Because growing up, everything was just.
When I lived with my mom, my dad, he had all that money. Yeah, he had the money and stuff, but from retirement. But he married. Like I remember as a little kid, before he met my stepmom, she had 2 kids already, and she was going through divorce with a husband and battling for the child custody. My dad and them were still, so it was like we definitely, me and my sister, felt like a little bit we got put on the back burner a little bit. New kid, new family. We had to share our rooms. We did not like these people. They were from
this motherfucker.
Yeah, and at the time, which I don't know why we would be like this, but we lived on the water. My dad got this really nice house out on the water. But about a mile away, there was this trailer park called Wedgwood. Really not that bad. They were mostly bigger modular homes. People had real big fancy decks built off of them. Wasn't that horrible of a place. But that's where he met my I had played baseball, and he was a coach for my baseball team for a little while. And somebody else that was on the team lived in that thing, and she came to see them play baseball, and that's where they met. And he moved her in from the trailer park into our nice place.
Oh, you were a kid, so you just found any reason to talk shit.
Yeah. And I liked her in the beginning. Yeah. I mean, I liked my stepmom. Me and her got along great when she lived on her own, in her own place. Like, she would take me to the beach, and we would always go, like, all kinds of shit. Pay me hellas just to cut her grass. Like, we were cool, but when she moved in, and it was like, started telling me what to do, and then just felt like she'd come in there and, like, started talking shit. I think one time she went with my dad to drop us off or pick us up. It was to pick us up from St. Louis. And I guess my mom, I think at the time my parents had they drive the wheels off of a fucking car. Okay. They get like 700,000 miles off of a vehicle before they buy a new one. So their vehicle had broken down over something, and they were waiting on it to get repaired. And they couldn't drive halfway. Didn't feel comfortable trying to make the halfway trip or whatever. So my dad just came all the way. And just that she had thought she had the right to like talk shit on my mom's at that time. Was like, and I'll be the first one to say my mom's fucking crazy. You don't want to be on her bad side ever. She is a
Hard to get off.
yeah, definitely. But me and my sister, we both felt like, because my mom had Mitch, and they were dealing with Mitch is my stepdad. They were dealing with the fact that my mom from the South and marrying a black man, and like her family is saying like, how they are. Like they wouldn't let him. They would invite them to come to Virginia to see them or for a family reunion, and wouldn't let him stay in the house. They'd be like, "Oh no, we're not. He can't stay here. You can, but he's not allowed to stay."
That's wild.
Yeah, that when I seen that as a kid too, it was like, it just blew my mind. And you see a lot of people that try to argue. That's why I don't really get into the arguments with the critical race theories and then people that talk about how racist, like unknowing racist, a lot of white people are there. They are. It's hard, kind of hard. I'm not comfortable. I don't think if I was, let's say if I was Antonio, my best friend, and I went to North Carolina.
How many podcasts has he been on, by the way?
He's only come on once.
Best friend?
We just go back further.
Just kidding.
Yeah, we just go back like car seats. But if I was him, and I was, let's say, where I went and did that show that I got booed off of the stage and shit, and told I sucked by the drunk crowd. And then they got kicked out. Yeah. Well, I feel not every comic gets that,
It's a kick in the
You
nuts.
really got to,
I didn't get the whole,
it fucked me up for about a good 2 weeks.
It was more of a...
Oh, no, I got
not a boo.
You suck.
I didn't get that. I got very, not sympathetic, but it was very annoyed, really, I guess. And I kind of got booed off stage.
Yeah. I got you sucked. I got a boo. And then as I was trying to, like, because as soon as they started talking shit, I checked it. I was like, oh, my bad. I tried talking to them, but they were so drunk that I couldn't get a question out without them interrupting or hooting and hollering about something. And I remember I finally got him because the guy I'm trying to ask a question to that said it. I was like, can you tell your boyfriend to shut the fuck up so I can fucking you can put your dick in his mouth a little later, but just let's get through this little conversation we're having.
Let's have this one-on-one.
And the rednecks don't like to be called gay.
What? Talking about dick? I ain't seen another man's dick.
I ain't no faggot. And it's like, I disagree.
The fact that you got that angry.
I can see I can see all the fucking wrinkles in your clothes. You've been in a closet. And but I wasn't in my area. I didn't know anybody. Mary Jane was the other comedian, so I didn't think she would have cut a motherfucker on the show. But there was a lot more country white folk out there and she killed it though.
Of course,
they liked her. She went up first. She's the one that got them all fucking hammered. But yeah, different. She had the crowd first. She took them to she gave them her show. And made them enjoy her show. You know how hard it was for this completely opposite kind of comedian and everything. And I fucked up. That's why I didn't take no money. They were gonna pay me.
That's the show okay. Yeah, but still, I think you should have been paid. The time I did, the worst that I got was I told my last joke, and I don't know where it came from. Somebody just went. That got the biggest laugh, and I was just like, I said I've been on stage, and just put the mic back. I didn't even want to say my name, and I left, and I cried in the green room in front of a first-time comic, waiting to go on stage.
Yeah, that's bad. That's okay. You're a man. You own that.
I went and did a set the next night, and I was like fully prepared to cry again.
I did too. I bombed.
Yep. Bombed my ass off, but it was
I've gotten used to the bombs just because of
mean.
Practicing crowd work. That really helped me out. This past year, I've really forced myself to do a lot more crowd work and work the crowd more.
I haven't hit a bomb recently because I haven't done anything but open mics, and I've refused. I can't let myself think you can bomb at an open mic.
Oh, you can bomb an open mic.
I feel like you're supposed to. I feel like that's your like you're not supposed to go out there and do great. You're supposed to go out there and work on new jokes. So if they bomb, whatever. Like you just need to get them out on stage and stuff. That's how I have to look at it, kind of thing for me, because a lot of my new jokes aren't good until I get to say them once, and then it's like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, there's
So yeah, I haven't, and I've done pretty good at these open mics lately, but I haven't done great in a long time.
Yeah, that night that I had the video that I got recently, and the following week, I felt like
You've been doing fantastic lately.
Yeah, I've done, but I'm ready to retire that set unless it's for a show because I've got it down pretty packed. Got the timing on it all down, so I've been working on. I haven't gone to any open mic yet this week because I've just been working on some new stuff. I think I'm gonna play with that pig joke a little bit. I'm gonna play with I know how to end racism joke a little bit, which I would try to dust that one off and really see, because I know there's something there. Like, I know how to end racism.
Do you have, is that?
No more white babies. Like, you can't let us have, we have to have interracial babies from here on out. We speed up science and the inevitable. I'm just saying, we can get rid of school shootings, unseasoned food, and horrible country artists stealing R&B songs and ruining them.
That's one foul swoop.
In one fucking generation.
That is pretty good.
I was like, come on. I was like, we can do this. I was like, now sisters are going to have to sacrifice a few inches.
It sucks.
All right. I'm sorry. Y'all are the ones.
Some of you going to win the lottery.
But
the other
I'm
ones,
willing to be the first to volunteer.
You get a weird experimental fucking thing to grow it. I'll try it.
It's super long, but we go fast.
Yeah. I got rhythm. I don't, but I could say I do. Do you have a joke like similar, like that? Something's there, but you just haven't gotten it yet, and you like for a long time.
Mm-hmm. I've got multiple ones.
I have a few too. Like the one I've been really, my favorite one is the concept of fucking bars with axe throwing in them, and it's just like, what happened to bars? Like, one time one nerd decided to throw an arcade in it. Now all of a sudden I can go and fucking get myself to Mordor or some shit like that. It's like anywhere that I have to go into a bar where I have to sign a waiver, I really just don't think I want to go into, because fucking...
I think Jules has gone to one of those.
They look fun. I will say that. They do look fun, but they're stupid. Like, they're really dumb.
I have plenty of trees out
here. Yeah, buy an axe. Go to a Renaissance fair. Yeah. Have at it.
Of that reparations joke that I said earlier, that's one that's on there. That's like, I've got probably a good solid 10, 15 minutes of jokes, and it's more racial.
Yeah.
Said, so it's really hard to at this time to try to work on them without them being just solid.
Yeah.
Like, there's like, I did one about actually my stepdad was the one that pointed me in this direction. I was trying to talk about him. My mom threatening to leave him, told me she was going to wanted a divorce, which really, I just couldn't believe it, so I had to ask her why, and she told me because he had been taking out loans and credit cards without telling her, and I just thought that was suspicious, because I didn't believe her, because, we all know they don't give black people loans and credit.
You think that man had credit?
Yeah. And the first time I did it, Alex Blodgeck's old lady was not.
That's the one.
Yeah, the social justice warrior. Yeah.
Then what the fuck is she upset about? I've noticed
she's
way
like
more...
the Nicole Gory chick. That's the chick. She told I was appropriating culture with my dreads. I shouldn't have them.
I'm way more open and willing to go places in front of an all-black crowd than I will ever do in front of a white crowd.
Did you hear when I do that hogging joke, right? Have you noticed how it happens every time? The white people, they start to... There's a couple in the crowd that are like, they just let it out.
They need that catalyst.
Yeah, they wait for the one or two black people that are in there and let it go. And then the black crowd, I usually get a great response from them. And then the host usually comes up and goes, yeah, we like it thick. We like them thick.
It's like, I would have never done that set in the Mary Jane's
Dude, that was
like I would have never have done that in front of a white crowd.
comedian. Like those are the sets when you do sets like
It's
that.
so much fun,
dude. When you do those, it's like you should record everything you do.
I have that recorded because you sent it to me, by the way, and I thank you for that.
But I mean, no, you should be the way you do your shit because it's so often. Like John Caparulo was telling me about how he does his comedy, especially when he's working on new stuff. Is he waits until he has just a solid punchline because after doing comedy and studying comedy for so long, you know what a good punch. You know that's a solid punchline. That's gonna be funny. You know that's gonna be funny.
Mm-hmm.
Just saying that punchline is funny.
Like, okay,
So now you got that. So he's like, I just put that in the pocket, and then I play. I'll spend a minute or two on it, talking about different things, feeling out the crowd, and eventually, and to end on it, I'll use my punchline that I know is funny. He's like, and sometimes I'll get 2 or 3 good punchlines, or good jokes, or know where to take it, where it's how to, like you said, I gotta say it.
Yeah, that's always my big thing.
As long as you got the punchline at the end, as long as you've got a punchline or two for that subject that you want to talk about, and that's how he said he kind of does all of his comedy. He's last minute procrastinator, and day before he goes on stage, comes up with some ideas. And
I've never gotten to that amount of time that he does, but I've kind of I kind of enjoyed doing it this way, but like utilizing the fact that I'm a procrastinator, like, okay, I'm not going to have the benefit of knowing my set before I go on stage. I'm just going to have to figure it out while I'm up there. I know my jokes, but I don't know what I'm going to do. And it's like, it's kind of bit me in the ass a few times. It's kind of probably taken me to get to certain levels a little bit longer than it should have. But at the end of the day,
that's how I feel.
I'm more comfortable. If everything blows up, I'm comfortable because I'm like, I can go wherever the fuck I want with it because I don't have a set. I don't have any fucking idea. But again, there's been multiple times where I'm just like, I don't remember anything. It's gone. And I also don't
That's because of that first joke.
First joke really matters.
You blank when you're not getting laughs because if you're getting laughs, it just keeps your flow and energy going, and you're just like, oh, you want more? I'll give you fucking more.
The last two though that we've done together, I do think I had been able to recover quickly from the first joke not working.
Yeah, maybe you should start with a strong one and then make sure you got another good one right behind it, just in case.
I just need a joke to go because so many times I've been like, I would get my best off of like off the cuff things that I thought of right before I went out. Something about the video, something about the comic before me, something you gave me one time at the Black Pack or wherever we were. It's racist that I just assume every black mic is a Black Pack.
It's racist that you call it a black mic. It's urban. It's unconquered.
To be fair, urban seems more racist. I don't know.
It does.
Who fucking knows anymore?
I don't know anymore.
Can we just all say the N-words because it's fun?
No. Even like I had my friend like Antonio and his cousin Montel and Terrence. We always were hanging out. Like we would usually stay at Antonio's house because his mom was a stay-in nurse at the place, and he would always be stuck at home watching his sister and taking care of her. So we would always just stay over at his house, fucking ordering junk food and playing video games in his little apartment room. And they would try to get me to say it. Or I would say it. You can say it. And I had friends all the time that would be like, oh, you're cool. You can say it. You're one of us. And it's like, nah. Because my pops told me about that. He's like, they're going to try to test. Don't say it. Don't say it. Even if they are cool with you saying it, like, don't. Just because it's still disrespectful to me.
Everybody's always like, oh, it's so cool. And it's like, yeah, when black people say it, it's like, you imagine how fucking racist and nerdy you sound saying it, you white piece of shit. Like,
yeah, like that dude that was at the gas station and had to fucking pull the shit out on him. Like, he was like, that's what he was doing. Everybody, he like looked over at him while he's yelling and causing a scene, and it's like, what the fuck is going on? And as soon as he was looking for people. As soon as people would look over, what the fuck you looking at? No. And it's like people would just shake their head and get in their car and leave. And he come up on me because I was parked and he was parked on the other side of the pump, and I was pumping. And so I'm just right there in the middle of it all, and I just like giggle. I had my headphones in too, my wireless headphones, and I kind of just giggle. And he said something to me, and he went into the store, and at that point I was like, I wonder what he said. So I took my headphones out, finished pumping gas, and come out. And I just stared him down until he said something. I was like, I thought you had said something to me. And he come up like he was wanting to walk up, and I just flipped up the shirt.
Don't do
I was
that.
like, man, come on. You can go home tonight, or you can
die here at this show.
Yeah, and I promise you, with the way you're acting on film, I'm gonna get away with it. This is Missouri, bitch. Jefferson County.
I got a fucking plaque.
Yeah, they're gonna see you and see the way you were acting, and there's sound on those cameras in there. They're gonna hear how stupid you think, and be glad that I did it, and just be mad that I didn't do it when I first seen him.
I should just pulled up shooting.
Yeah,
clapping.
Because the dude come in. I remember he was driving a Jeep Cherokee.
It's a Jeep Cherokee kind of guy.
And but he comes in hauling ass, like squealing tires into the gas station, all fucking boom, 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 boom.
Was he drunk?
And like yelling on the phone and shit. Oh. And he had one of the Merces, a man purse on too, with a wife beater and some shorts that were like down to his ankles.
Get the fuck out of here with that fucking.
And tattoos all over.
Coming at me with a fucking Indiana Jones purse, man. Get the fuck on out of here. Unless you got a whip, you better fucking.
But it was like a Gucci or some shit like that. It was like that. Like he was trying. It was like, dude, I respect a hippie with a Merce when it's a hippie Merce that they use at a festival. So yeah, I get that when you have those, they strap onto your chest and they lock, and they have a little clips and they lock.
People can't steal your drugs off you.
You can't get stolen on. And but that's not why he had it. He was trying to look flashy.
Nothing was in it.
No,
just the cardboard that comes in those
with
things.
His fucking busted ass liner hanging down in his Jeep. Like he can't even afford a thumbtack, motherfucker.
Reupholster that motherfucker.
So but maybe he was an alien. Because humans.
That's not where I thought that was going, like at all.
Because real humans don't act like that.
I don't know. If I was an alien, I would be like, act not like that. Be as human as possible. I wouldn't come down and be like, let's be a white man and just yell racial slurs at people. So maybe.
You want to be a white man that just yells racial slurs?
Of course I do. Everybody does.
You just can't wait until you're old and senile.
I cannot wait till I'm old, because I cannot wait to be an angry old person that makes everybody.
We're supposed to be the generation that
I'm not going to be angry at black people. I'm going to be angry at just the people around me, because I'm going to be old and I'm going to utilize that where people just do whatever old people want them to do.
I'm not even going to lie. I catch myself all the time, like doing reverse. I got called out on TikTok because this video, this chick's got a lion carrying it, like it's going like all growling and shit, and she's just carrying it by like all up underneath her arm and dragging it down the street and putting it in her car. And I'm like, white people gotta stop doing this shit. Really? It's always white people. And like maybe it wasn't white people. You can't really tell. Just light skin. You can tell it ain't a sister. It may be Middle Eastern, because that's what they said. Oh, that's Middle Eastern people. That's why are you trying to bash your own race for clout? And it's like
it's clout, or is it just a silly joke, man?
Yeah, but like I can't watch a horror movie and a motherfucker runs up the stairs and I'm like, white people.
Yeah.
Like white people, and then when you see some crazy shit happens or something like that, like that's some white.
That's
people
a white
shit.
people shit.
Like, that's some white
Where do you even
shit.
get a lion? I don't know. Amazon.
Mike, you're in your prime right now.
That's. Oh. Fuck yeah! Free delivery on Wednesdays. That's not a thing. I got an interview with them actually on Sunday. It's nerve-wracking. Mm-hmm. Are they DPS drivers?
DPS.
It's like the outsource company that they hire people to drive the vans for $19 an hour.
Yeah, it's just it's rough. Don't let it get.
No, it's going to be a terrible job. The 3 people I know that work there.
Take it as what it is.
Take it to $19 an hour.
But a good drive, but getting that, using that to build your resume is good, because you'll be able to get you can get a different delivery job doing deliveries of more fragile items that get paid more, like glass, art.
That would be dope.
I've used to help a guy. My buddy's uncle. Me and him would go and help him move old antique like pool tables and just like people would move out and they'd have huge like custom built things in their houses that they want disassembled and moved, and they're like heavy as fuck.
what I want to do. It's like I have an interview with them, but then I put in the application process for this. I used to be transcribe shit all the time. I used to work for different transcribed companies, freelance wise.
You can get on. There's all kinds of those.
I found an entertainment one, and basically you just watch fucking ESPN or whatever, and you transcribe these episodes for them, and it's like, you okay? And it's like like a TV channel. It'll be like, here, transcribe this.
You just gonna do the talk to text. You're gonna train because that's how I've always seen it. I see these guys that do it online. It's a hack that they get out there.
Yeah.
And you get the Apple fucking headphones with the mic. That's all you really need, and it transcribes it for you perfectly.
I can't imagine why they wouldn't allow that.
No, they do. Yeah. They can't tell you that you did it.
Because like the way I did it when I was freelancing is I had like a foot pedal thing that I could stop at the thing and I could type, and then I could let my foot up and it would keep playing, and I could listen, stop, and it like every 5 words it'd stop or type. It was real boring, but it's real easy money. Yeah,
no, that talk to text, and then if you can really upgrade that, if you could tune it, which there's got to be a way to fucking the engineers to be able to really do the speech recognition a lot better, to where you could just hold the microphone up next to the speaker.
Right, like that would be ideal. I would either that.
If they talk clearly enough, if you get it, I would try it. Fuck it.
I mean, I might as well. Fuck it. But I mean, I have the history with transcription, so I'm assuming I'm going to get to. I've never not gotten a transcription job. It's pretty easy. You just work from home.
I want to do it for comedy. Just watch stand-up comedy. No, never mind. There's a lot of bad stand-up comedy.
A lot.
Like when I go to a
comedy.
thrift store and look through all the records, I realize how much shitty music is out there that has been printed and produced.
I kind of have like.
I don't know how many times you can do the Ninth Orchestra Symphony in different fucking keys and tones and with a different orchestra every time.
And put it on a record and just.
Or how many Branson goddamn swing bands or whatever it is. Speaking of swinging, I went into. I think I'm doing a show for a swingers party.
Where?
I don't know.
That seems like a swinger thing. That is just like an undisclosed location.
Yeah, they told me to bring a mask.
Okay, this is eyes
like
wide
facial,
shut.
Like they're not like facial masks, like an eye covering mask. I was like, oh, y'all worried about COVID? And they're like, no, not that kind of mask.
Just eyes wide shut.
Yeah, and your keys. Just make sure you have a key. No.
You're about to either get murdered and sacrificed, or.
And they said you're just gonna go in a room and there'll be a hole.
Don't worry about the other side. I used to fish in this area called Newtown. It's kind of like a Truman Show style town, but the rumor was there was a swinger community, and if you were a swinger, you put a pineapple out on your porch. I never believed
that's
that.
A thing, yeah.
And then I started noticing it when I was fishing, and there was a lot of it. So I finally asked somebody.
I had a pineapple. I had a hat. I have a hat here that's got pineapples all over it. And someone said something.
Shirt with all pineapples on it when I was fishing there one day, and I was like, "Man, I'm giving out the vibe." Like,
I am a snack.
I would not mind living there though. It's kind of a cool area and a swinger. So
I would love to find a fucking place with somewhere to fish on that I can go close. That was close by here.
There's nothing out here. I was looking the other day.
There's Covered Bridge, I think it's called, which if I know about it, everybody knows about it.
So it's gonna be pressured as fuck.
Yeah,
there's a couple places. There's actually quite a bit of places out by me now. Huh?
There's Big River. I can go about 30 minutes back roads to like I'm going towards Eureka.
Yeah, there's some stuff up by Eureka. I know that.
Yeah, but nowadays, the way land and property and people are with that shit, it's so hard to.
Dude, if you find like,
see,
honestly,
I'm from the beach. You just grab a rod and go to the water and throw that bitch in.
I wish. What's cool about over by my area is most of the private ponds you can tell are private because it's like there's either a house or it's like this is not any. There's just a pond. Yeah. And every person I've ever knocked on the door and been like, "Hey, look, can I fish?" They're like, "Yeah, fucking sure. Take pictures if you catch big ones and make sure you clean up." And all you gotta do is clean up extra, and they'll fucking suck your. They'll call you. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, no, they I did the
You go fishing without asking, you're getting shot though.
yeah,
I will
yeah,
say
no,
that. Like,
and I don't like people enough to be asking them. I think it should be much easier to fish.
I wish there was an easier way to tell. Like, but besides what I just said,
Yeah, but
outside of that,
and sunfish.
you don't know. No, like what's private and what's not.
Oh yeah,
Like,
yeah.
there's nowhere that like at all.
Yeah.
And like, are there some places where it's like, if you're not a member of this community, like,
Yeah,
fuck yourself. I'm fishing here anyways.
Yeah, and I'm catch and release. I'm not eating the fish.
Yeah, I'm not keeping
either,
anything.
So
Unless I'm trout fishing, and even then, probably not.
I'm not eating it unless it's sea bass.
I want to go fucking this summer. I have a nice cat pole. This summer I want to go fucking.
I used to have a real nice one too. I used to have a black widow that was really nice.
I got one because I have a weed dealer who has too much money and likes me too much. Because he's a great guy.
Sounds like
But
a good guy.
he fishes. He loves fishing, and big cat fisherman. And I was bass fishing a lot, and we'd go do river shit or stream shit to where we would just kind of catch whatever.
I got 2 kayaks in the garage right now. Big green ones.
Like sit in or sit on top.
Sit in.
Yeah.
That's what we fucking fish in the ocean in.
Yeah, I mean they're not bad. Like I like it, but like have you seen the sit on top?
Oh yeah, that's just a chair attachment.
I want one of them motherfuckers.
Yeah, it's just a chair that they make. It's an attachment. It screws into
you
it.
could do okay.
Yeah.
Because that
Pretty sure unless you
the cheapest and easiest way to get off the bank, and that's the best way to fish around here.
I want to get a little John boat though. I want to get a Carolina.
I have one of those.
I want a little Carolina skiff. Would be nice to have. Build me a little pool rod, but yeah. All right, we're just talking about bullshit at this point.
That's kind of all we've been doing
here.
at this point.
Well, we had a deep discussion.
It wasn't bad. This was fun.